How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right into this review and see what I saw. So, welcome to another awesome movie review, folks there. So, to get this movie review started, this movie that I'm going to be talking about is a new fantastical biopic film. Fantasy slash kind of a little few liberties taking, but it is a genuine biopic about an awesome and amazing musician that has, brought us so many talented songs over the years, that had with his awesome writing partner, that he has created some of the best music, in the last 40 years that have just been so amazing and awesome, and just a really awesome guy. Now, the biopic I'm talking about, of course, is the awesome film, none other directed but the same guy that directed Bohemian Rhapsody, and that film is Rocketman. Oh yeah! So Rocketman is the biopic about Mr. Sir Elton John. Now, if you're not familiar with Sir Elton John, of course, he's been around doing music for the last 50 plus years and has given us so many great hits, from everything from Rocketman to Crocodile Rock, Saturday Night's a Good Night to Fight, from I'm Still Standing, so many awesome songs that he's, created with such great music that was written by his awesome writing partner, who really helped him, become such a solidified rock star in the 50 years that he's been doing this, which I think is an amazing duoship and just a great, a partnership as well. But this movie is so fantastic, really fun. The music in it is amazing. The main star himself that plays Sir Elton John in the film does all his own vocals for this film, and I thought that was really fantastic. And it's just a really, really well done biopic. And I thought it was very factual for what it showed us and what it gave us too as well. Now, to start off this awesome film review, like I was saying before, we have none other than the director himself, Mr. Dexter Fletcher. Now, Dexter Fletcher, like I said, has directed a few other things, a couple films and so forth. He's done a lot of producing. He's been a writer. He's been an actor. He's done all kinds of cool stuff. Now, one of the films he's directed I've mentioned already, and I thought was nowhere as good as this film, unfortunately. And I thought that the casting in the film was really horrible, and it just wasn't a very well-rounded as Rocketman is. And that, of course, is a film called Bohemian Rhapsody, which is about the Queen's life story, basically, about Freddie Mercury, kind of how they got together, created Queen, up all the way to the Live Aid performance that he did in '85 or '86. I'm sorry if I got that incorrect. It's either '85 or '86. I do remember that it was the mid to late '80s that occurrence or concert happened. But that's pretty much what that movie talks about, is from the conception of Queen, when Freddie Mercury first decides he wants to be a singer, writer, and how he becomes the huge star he is up to that Live Aid performance. It was an interesting film, but I feel that it was so well, musically inclined. It was really fun to listen to the music and stuff like that in the film. But other than that, the movie itself fell apart because there was a lot of inconsistencies with the film. So I didn't feel that Dexter Fletcher did a really great job of directing that film compared to this one. And unfortunately, I feel that the casting was horrible too. I mean, he came in at the end to finish off what Bryan Singer sang. So I feel that if Dexter Fletcher actually had the chance to direct the whole film, I think it would have been a better film in a whole. Because he basically just came in at the very end, the last couple weeks, and did a little editing and adding things, and what he probably added towards the end of the film was probably what was the best part of the film as well. But other than that, I didn't think Rami Malek was good as Freddie Mercury. I thought it was a subpar film. Definitely, I don't think it's as great as a film as everyone was making it out to be. But definitely a must-see if you like Dexter Fletcher as a director. He did still do a decent job with directing what he had taken part in, and I still think that he should get credit for what he did with what little he had. Now, the second film that Dexter Fletcher directed that I thought was an heard it was an interesting film. I haven't seen it. I've read things about it. I've seen the trailer for it. But it looks very interesting. It looks kind of fun. It's completely different than the last two films he's directed because they're not musical. It's not a musical film. It's kind of like a drama / comedy kind of, kind of dramatic film, which is way different than what he's directed. Definitely there's the dramatic element he's had in both of these films that he's directed, but there wasn't that musical aspect in this one that he directed. Then, of course, is the film that came out in 2011 called Wild Bill. And this film is considered a kind of a cult classic type of film. It did a lot of great things with it. A lot of people enjoyed it, thought it was really fantastic. Like I said, I don't know much about the film except that it's about this guy named Bill that has recently gotten out of prison after doing a stint, and basically about him trying to get his life back together and kind of what the craziness ensues with him coming out of prison and trying to get his life back on track. And so I thought it was an interesting trailer, what I saw of it. It looks kind of fun, looks interesting. Looks like there's some good dialogue in the film. And it looks like they got some pretty decent actors portraying the characters in the film, too, as well. So I'm actually looking forward to finally checking that out eventually. Eventually, when I watch it, I actually will do a review on it and let you guys know. But from my understanding, Dexter Fletcher did a really good job of directing it, giving us this really fun film, and made it very interesting and one of his best films besides Rocketman. It was actually his directorial debut too as well. So I'm interested in seeing what he did with his first film as well. So that's gonna be interesting to check out. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a whirl. See what it's about. See if you like it. See if Dexter Fletcher has always been the awesome director as he was when it comes to how he did with Rocketman. So that brings me to the awesome cast of Rocketman. Now, they really did an amazing job, getting the people, the actors and actresses to portray the characters in the film. I thought all of them were fantastic, really amazing. They all sang in the film, which I thought was so fantastic as well, and just really showed how talented these actors and actresses are, and just how amazing they made this film, because this really is an amazing film. I can't say that enough. I absolutely walked out hysterically, awesomely, just in love with this film. I thought it was so fantastic. The music was amazing. Gave me a better appreciation of Sir Elton John and just what he went through, and I thought it was just a really fantastic flick. So to start off this awesome cast, we have none other than the gentleman playing Sir Elton John himself, Mr. Taron Egerton. Oh yeah! Woohoo! So you might recognize Taron Egerton from a few films over the years. You might recognize from the recently made Robin Hood film that came out last year. You might recognize him from some BBC shows and so forth and stuff like that. But a couple films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in was none other than an awesome film that came out in 2014 and got a sequel in 2017. That was just a really fantastic sequel. This is a great series. I can't wait for them to bring him back in another future sequel. Unfortunately, the next sequel that they're going to be doing for this franchise, unfortunately, he is not in. But I'm looking forward to the fourth one when he actually is a part of it again. And that, of course, is the awesome film series Kingsman, The Secret Service. Oh yeah, I absolutely love this series. Matthew Vaughn directed the crap out of these films. He made such an amazing series with this awesome concept of this British intelligence agency that is very proper and very English, type, very service-like / servant type of character. You're a very elegant British man. It was just an awesome concept, and just Taron Egerton kicked the butt out of this film series. I absolutely love his character of Eggsy. I think he was a perfect choice. He really brought to life Eggsy and gave us this really amazing character. And I just thought that he was such a great staple for both of these two films so far. And just giving us this really interesting take on what would it be like to be this, young guy, all of a sudden finds out your father got this, basically got kind of a helping hand from this organization that recruited him, that unfortunately he died in the service for, and basically, kind of, led the way for his son to have a better life, basically. And I thought that was kind of an interesting concept as well. Very well directed by Matthew Vaughn, really well written by him. Just a really well-rounded film. And Taron Egerton, like I said, did an amazing job with the film. I loved his acting in it. I love his action in the film. I just thought he was fantastic in the series. And if you haven't seen either of the Kingsmen, definitely check him out. Taron Egerton rocks them. So that brings me to the second film Taron Egerton was in that I think is a fantastic film. Now, this film is just a really amazing film based on a true story about this amazing athlete that nobody thought would amount to anything. This movie also stars the amazing Hugh Jackman, and I think they worked so well together in this film and made it really fun and enjoyable. And it just was a really well-directed film and just a really fun film. And that, of course, is the film called Eddie the Eagle. Oh, yeah. So, like I said, this is based on a true story about this Olympian character who Taron Egerton plays. And Taron Egerton did a great job of portraying this gentleman and giving us, what it was like to be this gentleman back in the 80s. And him trying to become this Olympic, ski jumper that he ends up becoming, even though, a lot of people said he wasn't going to be able to do it because of certain, disabilities and so forth and stuff like that. And I thought that Taron did such an amazing job, very respectively too, and just made a really great biopic type of film. And I loved Hugh Jackman as the manager character. He was amazing as well. And him and Taron just worked so well together and made such a great duo and just made a great film. If you haven't seen Eddie the Eagle, it's an amazing film, especially if you love Rocketman after you've seen it. Definitely check out Eddie the Eagle if you haven't seen it yet. Such an amazing film, just a well-rounded film, and just really well, amazing performance by Taron in it. He really was awesome. Definitely if you haven't seen it, check it out, people. It's worth the watch. Now, it comes to him playing Sir Elton John. He was spot on. He had some of the mannerisms down. He had the singing down to pat. He was so amazing. His voice was so amazing. I love his voice. I think he's such a great singer. And he rocked those Elton John songs like no other. And he just brought such a great presence to the film and given us, what it was like to be Elton John through that time period of him, basically going from nothing to him becoming at, the top of his stardom and just like what he dealt with. And I thought that was a really amazing, respect and such a great performance by Taron and giving us this great, amazing performance by him. Really well done, really amazing, really fantastic, performance by Taron, and looking forward to more from him because he's just such an awesome actor. So that brings me to my next actor in this awesome film. Now, this actor happens to be a part of the really horrible remake of the Fantastic Four that came out in 2015. He played Ben Grimm, the Thing, in the film. But he's also been shown to be an amazing actor because he was really young when he made his debut in his first movie, which was the big hit movie, Billy Elliot. He's come a long way. He's been in a lot of films over the years and just a really awesome actor that I've come to enjoy watching. And that, of course, is Mr. Jamie Bell. Now, Jamie Bell you might recognize as the husband of Kate Mara. You might recognize him as Ben Grimm from the Fantastic Four reboot. You might recognize him from a few other films over the years, Billy Elliot and so forth. But a couple of films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in was an awesome film that came out a few years back. That was a great, amazing Clint Eastwood film that he directed as a kind of a first and second movie he directed about World War II. And this was the first part of that film series that was just an amazing film, showed us what it was like, for those soldiers on Iwo Jima and all that kind of stuff, and just, those gentlemen that rose the flag when we had victory over there and so forth. And that, of course, is a film called Flags of Our Fathers. Oh, yeah. So this is an amazing war film that Clint Eastwood directed, and Jamie Bell actually plays a soldier that was, pretty much one of the few people that was found that had been captured by the Japanese and was tortured to death. And he, unfortunately, his role isn't super big in the film, but at the same time, you get to see an amazing performance by him, even in the small part he was in. And just showed, unfortunately, what this poor soldier, young kid, went through. Because he was only 18, I believe, at the time, unfortunately, when he was, captured and killed by the Japanese. And Jamie Bell did such an amazing job bringing us that reality of what unfortunately happened to this gentleman, and just gave us a great performance. I really enjoyed his performance in the film. I mean, it was already an amazing film anyways. It had a huge, amazing cast. I mean, you had Ryan Felipe in it. You had Adam Beach. I mean, you just had this awesome cast already. And Jamie Bell just added to that great cast and given us this great performance and amazing film. Now, the second film that Jamie Bell was in that I really enjoyed him in is an awesome remake of a classic monster character that came out in 2005 and was recently rebooted again in 2017 as well, and has been remade a few times over the years. This character has been in several movies, fighting against other big monsters that are considered kaijus and stuff like that. And this 2005 one, directed by Peter Jackson, was just a really fun and awesome remake that I thought was really good, really fun. It had a great cast, and I thought Jamie Bell was a great supporting actor to this film. And that, of course, is the film called King Kong. Oh, yeah. So King Kong, if you're not familiar with, is a giant ape guy that lives on Skull Island. And basically, in each of his movies, unfortunately, he's been captured by humans, brought to New York, and has been killed, basically. And this 2005 remake was no different. But at the same time, it was really awesome, and the CGI work for this film was so amazing. And Jamie Bell did an amazing job playing kind of this kid that they bump into and he's along for the journey. And he ends up becoming kind of like a part of the crew that Jack Black's with, and Adrian Brody's with, that Naomi Watts is with. And just, he comes along and is just this really fun kind of kid character. And you just really enjoy his performance in it, because he plays like such a great like kid type of character that doesn't really know much, but at the same time is very smart, but at the same time too is kind of a little slow too as well. So I mean, he plays a really well-rounded character in the film. I really enjoyed his performance. I thought that some of his interaction with some of the other actors was really fun and hilarious. I just thought it was a really great performance by Jamie Bell, and I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen King Kong the remake from 2005, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. It's a great film, really fun, and really enjoyable, and a great performance by Jamie Bell. Now, when it comes to Jamie Bell's portrayal in Rocketman, he was awesome. I loved his performance. I loved how he interacted with Taron Egerton's, character of Elton John. I thought that their dynamic duo characters together really showed the real partnership between Elton John and his writing partner for all these years, and just how they reacted to each other, how they wrote and worked together. And I thought Jamie Bell did an amazing job portraying that and giving this really fun and interesting portrayal. And I just thought he just did a really fun job. I really enjoyed his character, really enjoyed seeing what this character was about, and I just thought Jamie Bell did a really good job. If you like Jamie Bell, definitely check out Rocketman for his performance. It was well worth it and a great addition to this awesome cast. The next actor up on this awesome roster is none other than a amazing Scottish actor that I think is really awesome. I love his Scottish accent. I think he's a great actor. He's portrayed several different characters over the years and is just really fun to watch. And that, of course, is Mr. Richard Madden. Now, Richard Madden is just like a fun actor, I feel. I think he's awesome. I think everything he does, he's really into the character. He really proves to be that character and really shows some great acting chops and really brings a great flair to everything he portrays. Now, he actually in this film portrays Elton John's first actual gay lover that he had before really realizing that he was 100% gay and that he only liked men, because throughout his career the movie portrays and shows that Elton John actually was with a few women over the years. He married even one. He was engaged to one, but he really wasn't sure about if he was gay or if he was straight or if he was bi. He didn't really know this until later in life, and this was like his first really push towards really knowing that he was gay. And this character that Richard Madden plays is that first actual boyfriend he had that was a very abusive relationship, unfortunately. But at the same time, this portrayal of this character was really interesting too, to see just like what this guy was about, what this manager guy did, and kind of where it pushed Elton John to. And I thought that was kind of an interesting take and a really great job by Richard Madden as well. Now, a couple of things that Richard Madden's been in that I really enjoyed and thought he was really fantastic in was none other than a great TV show that was on HBO that just ended this year, had its 8th and final season. He played a titular character of a Stark in this awesome series, and just was a great character in this franchise, a TV series. And that, of course, was the great show on HBO called Game of Thrones with awesome Peter Dinklage. Oh, yeah. So he played one of the Starks, Robb Stark, actually, and I thought he was so fantastic as the character. I thought he was really amazing. I always enjoyed the Stark family. They were like my favorite family of the TV series, and he just played the role so well and so awesomely. And he just looked really awesome, too, with the beard and just, like, being a part of, like, medieval times and stuff like that. And he just was really awesome as the character. I really enjoyed watching him in Game of Thrones, and I thought that he did a really amazing job with that TV series. The other film that Richard Madden was in that I thought he was fantastic in was none other than the live-action adaptation of a great Disney musical film that came out back in the 50s. And that is, considered a household name. This character, she's a princess. She's been a princess for years. She's always, a ton of people have loved her over the years. And, in 2015, they made the live-action adaptation film of this film. And was one of the first ones kind of to get the live-action films on their way to, being made every year. And that, of course, is the film called Cinderella. Oh, yeah. So in this film, Sir Richard Madden, I would like to call him, actually plays the Prince Charming character in the film, who Cinderella falls in love with. And I thought he was fantastic as the character. I love the portrayal he gave. I love that he gave Prince Charming kind of a different look, attitude, and approach, and gave us this like interesting new look at who Prince Charming was and what he was really about, and how he fell in love with Cinderella and stuff like that. And I thought Richard did a really amazing job of portraying that character, giving us this new kind of information into this character and kind of expanding on what Disney, created in the 1951, cartoon classic. And I just thought he was really fun in the film. I really enjoyed him, and I love his just his interaction with everyone in the film and just how he brought Prince Charming to life. Really great performance by Richard, and I really enjoyed him in the film. Now, it comes to his portrayal of the manager slash first lover of Elton John in this film, the awesome Rocketman. He really played the character to the T and gave us this really great impression of how this guy really was. Because unfortunately, we really don't know much about him except that, he was his manager for years when he was becoming famous. And we also know that he was the Queen's the band manager as well. And I thought it was interesting just the take that, Richard Madden brought on him, what type of person he was, how he was kind of like this enigmatic guy that kind of, drew people to him and, knew what to say to get people to do what he wanted them to do and give him money, basically, and stuff like that. I thought that was just a really great performance by Richard, and that he gave us this really great interpretation into this guy's, life and how he was and how he interacted with Elton John and how he, where he took Elton John to, like I mentioned before. I just thought it was a really great performance, really interesting to see, who this person was, and just a really great addition to the film. Really well done and great performance. If you like Richard Madden as an actor, definitely check out this film for his performance. He did a really great job and portrayed the character very well. So to close out this awesome actor roster, we have none other than an awesome actress who plays a really amazing character in this film that is, a very important person in Elton John's life, and it was a very, pivotal character to his life as well. And this actress is just an amazing actress, has an amazing father that's a director and actor, and just has an amazing family, and is just a really awesome actress. And that, of course, is Miss Bryce Dallas Howard. Oh, yeah. Talk about a beauty. Whew, that red hair. Anyway, so Bryce Dallas Howard, you might recognize from a slew of films over the years. Lady in the Water, you might recognize her from a few other films and so forth, stuff doing with her dad, and etc., etc. But this awesome, amazing actress has been in quite a few great films over the years. And a couple of them I really enjoyed her and thought she was fantastic in were some great films that I feel are really amazing films. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is the awesome sequel to Jurassic World that came out last year that I think was really fantastic, a really great new approach to the series, and unfortunately wasn't a huge winner with the critics, unfortunately, but I still thought it was a really fun film. And that, of course, is the awesome film Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Oh, yeah. So the awesome Chris Pratt returns as Owen in this film, along with Bryce Dallas Howard's character for the first film as well. And this time around, I really enjoyed where her character has gone, because she's gone from like this, executive type of character to almost being like this, tree hugger type of person almost, I would call it, because she goes from being this high executive to be kind of like an activist type of character where she's trying to help people and trying to do things, and she ends up getting drawn in to this unfortunately this kind of new debacle that's happening with Jurassic World and where it's going and stuff like that, and she has to come in contact with Owen again, and they have to fight and save dinosaurs and evade dinosaurs and stuff like that again. And it's just a really awesome performance by Bryce, and I love where she took it. I love how she brought a lot more comedy element in this one. Thought she was super hilarious. At the same time, though, some of her scenes were just so awesome, and action packed, and just was a great performance by her. I really enjoyed. Once again, I can't say it enough where she took the character to, and how she gave us this whole new, inside look into this character that we've already seen in the first film, and, given this awesome kind of new take on her. Really well done, really amazing in the film, and really enjoyed her in it. So that brings me to the second film Bryce Dallas Howard was in that I think she was fantastic in. Now, this awesome film came out back in the early 2000s, and is an M. Night Shyamalan film, just like Lady in the Water is. And this film was probably kind of her big break that made her kind of a big name, and just was a really fun and interesting take film. Kind of almost like it's almost like a Jonestown, I feel, that the movie is kind of related to, and how this big person basically gets all these people to follow them and to be a part of this world that they create on their own, and basically these people that don't realize what they're getting themselves into. And that's what this film is really makes me think of, that Bryce was in, that she just did a fantastic job in. And that, of course, is the M. Night Shyamalan film called The Village. Oh, yeah! Love The Village. Think it's a fantastic film. Like I said, love the take on it, love the idea of it. And Bryce just did an amazing job portraying this blind girl in the film. And just her performance was so fantastic and fun, and it just was really interesting to see, somebody that actually can see their take on portraying a blind person. And I thought she did a really good job, because you really do, throughout the film, feel that she's really blind. And I thought that shows a really great, acting ability, and giving us this really great performance that, shows she's got some acting chops. And I just thought she did a really fantastic job in the film. I love her character. I love where she took it. I love how she reacted to situations. And I just love her, role in the film. Really fun role. If you have not seen The Village, definitely check out People, especially if you're a Bryce Dallas Howard fan. She was super fantastic in it. Really fun. And I thought she did a really fantastic job. Now, it comes to her portrayal of Elton John's mom in this film. I thought she was spot on, very amazing. I love her, very, harsh, kind of cold take on the character. And I thought that she did a pretty funny job. She definitely wasn't the best part of the film, but she definitely brought an interesting take on who Elton John's mom was. And just, how their relationship was, and how they interacted with each other, and how, her parenting, how it kind of, taught Elton John to be certain ways that he is. And basically where it takes Elton John in his life path. And I thought that she did a really good job of portraying that, giving us this kind of idea of who she was, and just a fun and interesting performance. Definitely interesting. Thought she was hilarious too at the same time. I thought she kind of went a little overboard in some parts, but at the same time still really really great performance. Really enjoyed her and thought she was fantastic, and looking forward to more from her. So if you're not familiar with what Rocketman is about, this is basically the biopic about Elton John and kind of his beginning as a youth to his, basically his rise to his top part of his, basically his fame. And basically what his life was like through those years. And basically, going from this young prodigy to becoming this, rock star who, basically is almost, in debt and almost dying because of drug abuse, and just kind of his, life from the bare bones to the tippity top of his career. And it just was a really amazingly done film. So awesome, so well constructed. I can't say enough good things about this film. It was so amazing. I love it. Can't wait to add it to my collection because I just think it was a fantastic film. The soundtrack is amazing too as well. The new renditions of a lot of Elton John's original songs are so amazingly sung by everyone in the cast, especially Taron Egerton. It's just a really well-rounded and awesome biopic film. So much better than Bohemian Rhapsody. This movie is just fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go check it out in theaters now, people. It's worth a watch. Super fun. Taron Egerton deserves an Oscar for this performance, and is a really great OD to the great Sir Elton John. And he himself, even Elton John, was actually a part of getting this movie made, and he loved the performance too as well. So if you knew that, that shows you how great of a film this is. So definitely check it out, people. It's worth a watch. Really fun and great soundtrack. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. And if it's your first time here, if you've been here before and haven't hit that subscribe button, do I need to sing you a song? I'm still standing everywhere you can. Come on, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this awesome video and the awesome videos I put up. As always, people, keep your eyes out for any old or new videos you haven't seen mine yet. And as always, people, check out the awesome Stardust app where you can watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews of TV shows, trailers, movies, anything your heart desires. So that's something interesting. Download it for free. Look for me under the Cyberneticshark. Follow me, and I'll follow you back. And as always, people, check out the awesome horror pack as well. I got the awesome link down below to get you a discount on your first month, where you get 4 Blu-rays or 4 DVDs right to your door every month of awesome horror goodness. So that's something that interests you too. Go ahead and check that out as well. As always, people, catch you in the next one.